Здравствуйте, товарищи, and welcome to our second weekly mailbag segment. And we've got more questions than we did last time, but hopefully we'll get through them all. In any case, I just want to start off by saying that I'm not 100% right now. I'm still recovering from a party that I had yesterday, and it was actually really good. Usually, I'm not the biggest party guy because I have a problem with crowds. I really don't like crowds. Crowds make me uncomfortable, and if you get above a certain number of people, it's like 5 or 6, I start to kind of withdraw internally. But I had the opportunity. Well, one thing I really excel at though is I'm really good at one-on-one conversation, and I'm also pretty good at public speaking. Well, I don't fear public speaking. I don't get afraid or nervous or anything like that. I'm totally okay with public speaking, but crowds has always been my thing that I'm not very good with. But I actually had the opportunity to go around and talk to some people one-on-one. I was talking to this one lady that I met there, and she gave me a piece of advice. She's like, well, what you should do is you try and, well, first off, I told her, my aspiration is really I want to be a politician. I want to go into politics. And she's like, I can see that from you, and the way you present yourself. And then, we were talking. I told her, I'm kind of out of my element here. I don't really like big crowds. She's like, what you should do is you should, segment the crowd and pretend you're speaking to people in smaller groups, and pretend that you're thinking like a politician, and connecting with these people in smaller segments. And I don't know, it was really a cool piece of information. It really changed my way of thinking, and it kind of let me go around and enjoy myself more. And I had a ton of fun. And I really appreciated meeting her, and she had a lot of cool things to say. But we're talking, and I knew she was older than me, and we're having these great conversations. And I asked her, how old are you? And she's like, oh, I'm 41. And I was like, man, I thought you were early 30s or something like that. I think, I can go probably a decade older than me. I've always gotten along better with people that are significantly older than me. I never really gotten along that well with people who are my age. Like my best friend in the world, he's 35 years old, but still, I think 41, it's a little uncomfortable, hanging out with 41-year-old one-on-one, unless it's mom or something. But anyway, she still was a wonderful person. It was a great time. And besides that, I just thought I'd clarify that to see if I'm a little off. That's probably the case. Also, upgraded the graphics card here with a whatever this is. Sorry, a GeForce. I should know what this is. A GeForce 680, and it's approximately twice as good as my previous graphics card. It was a pretty big purchase. It was like a $500 graphics card, but it's good quality, and the performance is very noticeable, and it shows that this card is much better. We're running Far Cry, everything maxed out to as maxed out as it can get. Smooth 30 frames per second. Crushing things like PlanetSide 2 and Borderlands, and all these new games. I'm excited. I probably wasn't going to buy Crysis 3, but now I've got this new graphics card, and I've updated the RAM and everything in the computer. I have to justify all these purchases. So now I have to buy Far Cry 3 and test how well it's going to run on my updated hardware, even though it's Origin exclusive, which nobody likes. Nobody wants that. But anyway, let's get onwards to our questions here, and we'll get to the giveaway at the end of the show. So that's not the first question. First question comes from Kyle Prefers Blondes. I'm actually partial to exotic women myself. I like Latin women especially. I think are really attractive. Anyway, the three main, out of the three. So he was talking the first about how he's a history student and a poli-sci student, and a little bit of introductory stuff. So I kind of cut that out. So from the middle of what he's saying, out of the three main totalitarian ideologies of the 20th century, he went on to clarify later that communism is exactly totalitarian in its purest form, is not a totalitarian ideology, but he went and clarified it later. In any case, communism, Nazism, and fascism, which do you find the most fascinating / interesting? Although I know you once affiliated yourself with communism, do you actually find that the most interesting ideology of the three? And the answer is absolutely. Even to this day, I heavily heavily sympathetic, maybe you could say, to Marxist philosophy and Marxist ideology. And I think there's a lot of things right about what he was talking about, and a lot of things are still honestly applicable today, even though he wrote 150 years ago. And the idea of Marxism that I really like is this idea of alienation and sort of exploitation, and how in his world, a communist economy is where everyone has a job that they value and that they get some sort of human benefits out of, and value to Marx means more than just monetary rewards. It's something more personal and more meaningful and stuff like that. So his basic theory was, we either have a society where everybody is working in a job that they want to do, that is fulfilling to them, because everyone has fulfilling tasks. Like one of my philosophy professors, the way he talked about it was like, how someone will go to work, and he'll do his job or whatever, and then this is someone like my dad, and then he'll come home and spend his time off doing like handyman work or doing woodworking and that type of stuff. So it's not like it's work and not work. It's like you work and then you come home and work on something that is more fulfilling to you. And I guess what Marx is really saying, why don't we cut out the middleman and just have people work on something that is fulfilling to them, because they'll do a better job and they'll be more efficient and they'll be more productive, and so on and so forth. And if you can't put everybody into a job that is fulfilling to them, you make that mundane, job fulfilling to you, and you do that through increasing its value through, that was things like they tried to do in the Soviet Union. That was like, heroes of socialist laborers. They give people awards and that type of stuff for these more mundane jobs, and that was coming from this Marxist idea of valuing your work. And so yeah, I do find like communism, Marxism, the most interesting of those three. This comes from Razul Anima Al Jazeera. Hello, Mr. Downey. Congratulations on your bachelor degree. I was just wondering, what was the NDP General Meeting like? And for me, it was fun. That's because I'm a weirdo, and you have to be like a special kind of person to like enjoy yourselves at this meeting, because it's a lot of people, mostly old people, and they get into a room, and we're talking about really like mundane policy issues, and we're talking about like all these like nitty-gritty policy issues that are affecting this city and this city alone. And there's lots of people hearing, and my favorite thing in political media is when people will stand up and yell shame for almost no seemingly good reason. Just have someone just stand up and yell shame, and then they'll sit back down, and then sometimes other people will join them, and I don't know, it's great. But yeah, lots of discussing policy, lots of people getting elected into various offices, and all that good stuff that bores 99% of people to tears, but I just love. So next comes from Kendrick Connor. He says, "Hi Stalin, this is actually from kind of a combination, because maybe I'll combine a bunch of questions here together, because I got similar questions about this, and that is, what do you use to record your Let's Plays? What do you have for someone who is going to start doing Let's Plays? I have a question. I want to record video footage. What should I save up for to do this?" I think this is from Drew Sheffield. So there's two questions, and another guy asked me what kind of camera I'm using. So I'll try and cover all these questions in one swoop, because they're all in the same type of vicinity. But in terms of recording actual footage off my computer, I just use Fraps, and it records both audio and video at the same time. It's a great program. The only thing is that it takes up a lot of hard drive space. That's why I've got like 5, or I used to have 5, but one died. So I've got like 4 hard drives right now, and they all accumulate to about, I think it's about 5 terabytes of space, and they're frequently filled up, just because recording video is such a it takes up so much space on your hard drive. So I've got like one 3 terabyte hard drive exclusively set up to deal with recording, and I've got another hard drive for my Steam games, and another one for other games, and there's a bunch of stuff going on. But yeah, So if you're using Fraps, you got to have a lot of hard drive space, or be prepared to continually stop and edit what you've done every 15 minutes or so. Besides that, I've also got a pretty generic headset to record, and in terms of the quality of the video itself, you want to have a computer that can run these games at high levels. So you want to have a fairly decent computer to be able to have high quality footage, and then you need to have an editing software. I mean, I use Adobe CS6 to edit my videos, and I guess that's like all you need in terms of tangible equipment is a headset, a computer that's capable of recording video and processing video and all that type of stuff. So you need a fairly decent computer to be able to do all this stuff, especially on a regular basis. And so in terms of like actual tangible stuff, that's what you're going to need. In terms of, this was Total War LP's question, what camera am I using? Honestly, I'm using a work camera right now because it's better than my personal camera, and it's not that great. It's just a small like handy cam or whatever, and I'm thinking about being in the market for potentially buying a new camera, and you don't want to buy the cameras that I have because they're not very good. So if you're thinking about buying a camera, if I go out and I go and buy something new, I'll talk about it and make recommendations on that. But I would say don't buy any of the cameras I have because they're pretty subpar. So just seeing if oh yeah, tips for beginners. So I guess what I would say is that it all really depends on your timing, because I got my foot in the door because I started off with Empire Total War when Empire had just come out, and a lot of people were looking for footage for Empire Total War. So I had that boost in numbers, because people were looking for footage, and they're looking for Let's Plays and commentary and that type of stuff about the game. So if you're going to start, I suggest you start, the best games to find are games that are popular but still kind of niche-y, I guess you could say. A game like XCOM, because XCOM isn't like the most popular game out there. It certainly can't compete with like Call of Duty or Halo or something like that. But it's still, a lot of people are going to play it. So less people are going to be doing recordings of a game like that, because they're less interested in it. But people still want to see recordings of it. So if you end up doing recordings of a game like that in a timely fashion, you're going to get more views. You're not going to get as many views if you do a big game like Call of Duty, because everybody's going to be doing that, and there'll be a whole bunch of different options. But I guess so. That's the essence of starting up, I guess, and getting your foot in the door. Really does have to do with timing, and of course there's like the quality of the product and that type of stuff, and that depends on, I guess, your personality and your recording style, as well as the hardware you have, and having a decent computer, and being able to go through the process of editing and recording relatively easily and hassle-free, and then you can put something up on YouTube that looks good. So that's that. This comes from Alk24. Alk24 says, "Hi, I've been following your vid since the India campaign on Empire. Anyway, I've been thinking about this for a time. I never heard you talk about bronies. What do you think of them? Good, bad, weird, or funny?" So I have zero opinion on bronies. I watched the first 2 episodes of My Little Pony because my little sister asked me to watch them with her, and I said okay, and they didn't do much for me, and I haven't really thought about them or cared about them since. So there you go. Okay, this comes from Deno256, and he says, "If you exclude your own country, Canada, which country would you consider being ideal to live in? The world in this time, taking economy, culture, living situations into consideration, and why?" I want to live outside of Canada at some point. I want to get that experience. I've been to Japan, so I know, and it was amazing, and I'd love to. That would be a really amazing place to live for a little while. But the thing is, like, yeah, I would never want to stay in Japan permanently, because if you're never ever going to be just the way Japanese culture is. Like, the people there are really polite and they're really nice and they're really helpful and friendly, but you're never going to be accepted as one of the Japanese people. They're always going to look at you, oh, you're a gaijin, you're an outsider. You'll never actually, really be fully accepted into their society, no matter how, Japanese, if that's a real word, you become. So, I mean, it would be a great place to live for a year or something like that. Also, would want to live in Korea. I wouldn't mind. Again, I talked about living in Honduras, which I think would be an amazing experience, because I've been to Honduras before, and the people there are incredible. Like, the people there, they're just so poor and they have so little, but they're the nicest people on the planet, and they're willing to share what little they have with complete strangers like me. So it's just it's an amazing atmosphere there. I mean, I haven't been to Russia, and I can't say much about Russia, but I know I want to visit, and I'd like to visit more before I decide, hey, this is a place that I'd like to live. Also, wouldn't mind living in the UK at some point. So I guess that's our kind of list of potential places that I'd like to live. Who is this from? Oh, a Bad Medic. My question is, out of the many Let's Plays you have done, over the years, which one has been your favorite? Does it differ from people's opinion in any way? As in, you did really enjoy an LP, but you found that it wasn't popular with your subscribers. My personal favorite of your LPs would be Metro 2033. That's how I found you, and so it's rather nostalgic in that regard. And I really liked how you played it in Russian. It added much to the atmosphere of the game. Keep up with the stellar content. Even if my question isn't picked, I hope you read this. So I liked games that I really enjoyed. I really liked the Realms of the Haunting Let's Play. That was still, even though that game was torturous to play, the end product I just had so much fun with the commentary and making fun of the story and all the weird things that would happen. Also, of course, really love Stalin versus the Martians. But I do like the Grand Strategy Let's Plays. I've loved all the Hearts of Iron Let's Plays, and the Kaiserreich Let's Plays, and Darkest Hour Let's Plays. They're my favorite sort of the paradox genre to play. So I really enjoy doing those kind of videos. I really enjoyed the Phoenix Wright Let's Play that I did, but that wasn't very popular with people, but I had a lot of fun doing it. And I tried to do voice actors, and we did it for one episode, but it was just it was so hard to get all these people together, and have them sit down for 3 hours, and then make sure all the audio levels are in balance with everybody else, and the logistics of it were a nightmare, and I wasn't able to do it more than once. But I did enjoy doing the whole thing voice acted by myself, which was a lot of fun. But so I guess that's definitely been the one that I really enjoyed, but not so many other people out there enjoyed. But I think those are probably XCOM was also a lot of fun. I really enjoyed doing XCOM. But yeah, so I hope that answers the question. And this comes from next one comes from 55 the Crafter. All right, let's get down to the meat and potatoes, shall we? Well, that was fast. No, actually, he said a bunch of stuff. First off, and I cut a lot of it out. Anyway, my question is, I love your videos, but over the years you have changed, not for the worst. But I was hoping you could help your old friend Clayton tell how you've changed, or help your old friend Clayton. How do you think you've changed, and how drastically? Hope this wasn't too long. I've just been waiting a while to ask this. And, I mean, I've gone, since when I started doing videos, and where I am now has been quite an evolution in my life. Things change relatively quickly, it seems. In terms of my personality, I would like to say that I'm more confident and feel more strongly about who I am and what I'm defined as, and makes me, doing this kind of stuff makes me realize you can be weird and you can have your own opinions, but there's still there's going to be people out there that disagree with you, but there's still going to be a lot of people out there who agree with you and who appreciate what you're saying, as well as I guess I've also kind of learned to develop a thicker skin by doing stuff like this, because you get, I mean, because of the territory, you're going to get, you know, hate all the times, no matter what. And you know, dealing with that has you know, helped me change and become like a stronger person. I feel like I used to be a little bit more hopeful and optimistic. I'm becoming, I feel like, a little bit more jaded now, and I don't like the change. It's something I'm trying to fight against, but I feel myself becoming more and more jaded as time goes on. But you know, I've been through a lot of like personal changes. I went through like a cycle of like weight gain and then weight loss. Is like you look back at some of my videos, I weighed a lot more, especially when I was with one of my girlfriends and we lived together, and I didn't. Neither of us cooked, so we ate out a lot, and we ate out a lot of unhealthy food. And then when we broke up and I started living alone, I started cooking for myself more, and I started exercising more, and I lost a bunch of weight. And so I returned to like my high school levels of weight, you know, and that was like I lost like 50 pounds. It was pretty crazy. I've been through numerous sort of fling relationships, 2 serious ones. Both were kind of disastrous. Yeah, I've moved a lot, so many different places all the time. Now I'm kind of stable. You know, I graduated, obviously, but I don't know. I like to think that I've become a better person as time goes on. I've become, one thing I think I have honestly become is I've become, since I've become a lot nicer, I guess. At least I think. I mean, when I compare myself to what I was like in high school to what I am now, you know, that high school me was such a dick. It was such an asshole, and you know, I've learned through my life that it's much better to you know, be nice to people and make friends rather than enemies. And you know, it feels a lot better to tell someone you love them than you hate them. You know, so. But yeah, I guess that was kind of like a rambling answer, but I hope that answered, you know, some of what you were asking. It was a pretty open-ended question, so I guess I gave an open-ended answer. In any case. Next question comes from Pesto262. Mr. Spencer, I've been interested in pursuing, or sorry, would you be interested in pursuing a career in politics to the point of a member of parliament? And the answer is absolutely yes. I talked about this a little bit in my Far Cry 3 Let's Play, that I met someone who's a city councilor here in the city that I live in, called Penticton, and it was a super cool guy. Yeah, like I said, he's like a Harvard graduate. You know, just elected to like city council. I was like, man, you know, that's someone that I feel like I'm pretty successful, but you know, I can always do better, and I've got a lot of ambition in that regard. And you know, doing things like what I've been doing, and going out and meeting people and talking to people about issues that are important to them is helping me, because like I want to be a politician, and I've got the policy sort of end, and I understand the policy, I understand the campaign part, I understand all these things. The one thing I think I need a lot of work on is coming in and communicating with people on the kind of one-on-one level, and you know, actually connecting more with everyday average people, and that's something I'm trying to learn right now. But yes, absolutely, I 100% want to be a politician. Next question comes from Biznatch, or is it Bishnatch? I don't know. Biznatch, something like that. And he says, how do you deal with stress and anxiety? You seem to be a person who is affected by a lot of events in your life, yet you can always be optimistic about things. I've been trying to deal with a lot of stress, having exams, which will essentially choose what I study in university this year. That's one thing about going and taking a psychology degree. It's taught me a lot of useful tools. One that has actually, in regards to the previous question, that's been very useful, is taking a psychology degree has taught me how to listen to people. You know, it's not like you just listen to people. There's, you know, it's a skill that you have to learn and you have to build up. And I'm really appreciative of that, but I'm also really appreciative of the fact it's taught me how to deal with stress and anxiety a lot of the times. And the thing you really have to understand about stress is it's not the event in your life that's causing you stress, it's your interpretation of said event. So, exams are coming, and if you put a lot of pressure on yourself and you build it up, oh my God, this is going to choose the entirety of my life, I have to do good, you're going to stress yourself out over that. Versus if you think about it in a way that, I'm a smart and capable person, I'm going to study an hour every day before the exams, and I'll have this kind of under wraps, you'll do much better. And I very rarely got stressed out over exams or over papers or due dates and that type of stuff, because I was very good at having that mentality. But at the same time, I wouldn't like brush it off and say it was nothing. I would take I have like a 5,000 word paper, and I would write maybe either 500 words a day or 1,000 words a day. So I could take that and say, okay, I've got this paper due. I'll write 500 words every day. So it's and I'll take how many days it's going to be, and then I'll work it out, and then it's much more manageable in that kind of time frame and that kind of mindset. So that's to me how I deal with a lot of my own stressful issues, and how I deal with anxiety over different types of things. But I think also optimism is important. I try really hard to be an optimistic person, and it's something that it's a constant struggle to be optimistic. But the truth is, optimistic people are happier, and they enjoy life more, and pessimistic people are kind of depressing, and you don't want to be around them, and there's a whole bunch of different sort of like tangible benefits you can tack on to being an optimist, and it has like health benefits and psychological benefits and all these different types of things. So I try my best to be optimistic and not let things in life bog me down so much. So I'm the kind of guy that always focuses on the positive aspects of something, versus the negative, because I know people like the way okay, I know people who they focus in, maybe they get one bad or negative thing, and it shatters their world. Like maybe I'll do a video, and the overwhelming majority of the comments will be positive, and then there'll be one guy who's like a total dick and total asshole. And my philosophy to that generally is, well, look at all the people who liked it versus this one asshole. This guy obviously doesn't know what he's talking about, and I'll just move on. Whereas I know some people will be like, oh my God, this one person didn't like it, and they'll just focus in on that, and that's all that they'll think about, and completely ignore all the multitudes of people who said that it was a good video or whatever else. And that's obviously a very damaging mindset to be in. So anyway, next question comes from Mohammed Rex, which is a great name. Actually, no. Here's a statistical point that the most popular name in the world, the most popular first name in the world is Mohammed, and the most popular last name in the world is Wong. But you'll never ever find a Mohammed Wong. So there you go. Anyway, hi Stalin. What's your thoughts on Koch Media purchasing the rights to Metro last night? Well, I think it's going to be terrible. Look how Dead Island turned out. Also, I have two questions. Have you ever been caught? Have you ever thought in your life about learning French? Also, have you ever been to Calgary? If you have, how did you like it? Be honest, I didn't like it. I didn't like the unpredictable weather much. In any case, first question. I should actually mention this. People probably know Company Heroes is bought by Sega. I'm totally okay with that. Sega's done a great job with Creative Assembly. If Paradox didn't buy them, Sega is definitely a good choice. I don't have any worries now. I think they're going to do. They're going to let Relic do their jobs. They're not going to come in here and try too much to mess things up, because like I said, they've done a really good job with Creative Assembly, and let them do Total War the way they want to do Total War. So I feel Company Heroes is safe. So in terms of Koch Media buying Last Light, I don't know. That was the one. I guess I'm worried about it. I think it's still going to come out. I think it's pretty far along in development, because they keep saying it's going to come out, time and time again. So I feel like it's pretty far along in development at this point. So they probably can't change too much right now. And generally, when you buy a game like this that is so late in its development cycle, there's really no point in changing too much, because they'll cost you more money to change all these different things, and you'll get less money with the end result. It's more just, okay, we're at the final stretch now, kind of let's get it done type of deal. So I don't think they're going to come in and radically alter what we've seen in the demos and the video footage that they showed out. So I guess I'm not terribly worried. I guess I'm more worried about the future of that franchise more so, because I mean, I can't think of any notable games that they've really done. I mean, I didn't hate Dead Island, but I didn't love it either. It was okay. So I guess I'm more worried about the future. I think Last Light's going to come out, and it's going to be good. And whether or not there will be another Metro series, who knows. So, what were his other questions? Have a thought about learning French? Yes, I really want to, especially if I want to be in federal politics. You have to learn French in Canada, and it's something on my very long list of things to do. And I've never been to Calgary, ever. I'd like to go. I haven't seen much else of Canada. I've seen way more of the rest of the world than I have of my own country. I've never been to the east side of Canada. I've never been to the French Canada, the Atlantic Canada. I've never really visited any of the prairie provinces, northern territories, nothing like that. So I've never been to Calgary. So I think we're on our last question now, and I like this question because it's gonna. What am I at? Wow, I'm at 32 minutes. Okay, well, there's no way I'm going to be able to sum up this question adequately in the time frame I have, but I guess I'll tackle it. And a Fat Man 991 asks, what's my stance on gun control? And guns is a very complicated issue, and it doesn't matter what you say, you're always going to kick somebody's hornet nest with whatever your opinion is. And I want to, it's also one of those opinions, and it's one of those things that gets boiled down so easily to this like knee-jerk reaction in either way, and it's a far more complicated issue than that. And I want to treat you guys seriously because I think you're smart people. I don't want to give you like rehashed talking points or anything like that. That it's a serious issue that needs to be dealt with in a serious manner. But with all that being said, I have been guilty of not treating the issue in a serious manner very often, because trolling people who are really like pro-gun is one of the funnest things to do in the world. They're just so easy to piss off, and their brains explode, and it brings me delight to do stuff like that. But I personally don't own a gun. I don't think I ever will. I don't believe that I'm safer with a gun. I feel less safe owning a firearm, actually, because I know that statistically, if you own a gun, you're actually more likely to be murdered than not. So from all the statistical data, that actually makes you less safe. I think there are legitimate uses for a gun, and I think that if you want to own a gun, that's totally your right. The problem isn't necessarily that the oversupply of guns, it's the oversupply of idiots. And the larger question is, how do you make sure idiots who are unqualified to have access to guns don't get them, is the larger question here. And coming from a Canadian perspective, gun control is something we here in Canada do not understand. Like, we look over to America, and it just looks like they're crazy from our point of view. Like, I watch a show on the CBC. It's called Power and Politics, and every so often they do what's called political traction, where they take issues, like political issues, and find out what people are saying about them, essentially, and what issues have traction. And, you know, I do take question a little bit with their methodology, but it's interesting nonetheless. And I remember when they were talking about when the whole tragedy in Sandy Hook Elementary happened, you know, they were talking about whether or not that issue had political traction, and they were talking about from a Canadian perspective, and the host was like, this is just one thing that, you know, Canadians culturally are not the same as Americans. We look at their gun control debate, and we're just, we can't, you know, we just don't get it. We don't get it at all. So, if it were up to me, and how we're doing, I'll give you, so what, here, I'll give you my solution of what I would do, and I'll give you my solution of this is how I would, if I were a political advisor to, you know, maybe President Obama or someone else, this is the political advice I would give them. So if it's up to me, like I said, I have no problem with you owning a gun at all. If you can prove that you're responsible and capable and, you know, in the right mind to own that gun. So I think for me it would be like getting your driver's license, essentially, because I mean, you know, before you can drive a car, you've got to go through lots of tests. You've got to prove that you're, you know, capable of learning to drive this you know, vehicle. Like we don't, you know, hand them out we don't hand out, you know, driver's license willy-nilly unless you live in Honduras and you can just pay your way. But so I think it should be similar to guns, that you have to, you know, take lessons and you have to take the time to learn how to use this and how to, like, what, you know, is appropriate and inappropriate. It's not just like, you know, here's a gun, here you go type of deal. So I think that should be, you know, owning a gun should be similar to having, you know, owning a car, and you have to get the license, you have to do the training, and you have to do the tests, and you have to, you know, do that type of stuff. But if I were giving advice to President Obama, one thing I would love for him to do is that what I really want him to do is just one day show up at somebody's house and actually take their gun, because people like freak out about this, like, oh my God, Obama's taking our guns, holy shit. So I want him to actually do that, like one day show up at somebody's house and just like take their gun. Of course, it wouldn't be like a random person; it would be kind of like a photo op event. But the reason why I would suggest you do something like that is because humor is one of the greatest political tools out there, because it does so many different things. One, it makes you perceived as more likable, and two, it discredits your opponent and makes their position seem silly. Essentially, it makes it seem laughable. So at the same time, you're connecting with people, making them laugh, and you're discrediting your opponent's position. So I would say, you know, do something like that, you know, even though you look at his executive orders and there's nothing about taking anybody's guns away at all, people still like lose their shit and think, oh my God, he's going to take our guns away. So if he, you know, makes this kind of humorous point, I think it would make him, you know, more likable, and two, it would diffuse sort of or mitigate, you know, these people who are completely overreacting to the situation. And two, I would advise him not to call it gun control, because gun control has negative connotations. Because, you know, control is a fascinating thing. We all love control, but at the same time, we all hate being controlled, unless, you know, I was going to go into, like, you know, there are certain positions where I think people enjoy giving up control. But for the most part, we want to be in control of our own lives and you know, have this control. And gun control has this connotation that, you know, you're taking them away, and it has this negative connotation that creates an immediate emotional backlash. So I would say, don't call it gun control. Call it something else. Call it gun management. Call it gun care. Change the word. Because if you're going to sit here and keep calling it gun control, you know, that already has a negative connotation, already starting at a disadvantaged perspective. So there's my wrap up on guns. Please, people don't, like, you know, go crazy in the comments and be like, oh my God, he talked about guns and said something that I vaguely disagreed with. You know, he's obviously a terrible human being, because that seems to be the way the gun debate often goes down. And hopefully you know, we can avoid some of that this time. So we've come to the end of our questions, and now it's time for the giveaway. Hooray, hooray. Man, this went on for a long time. It's been like 40 minutes. So what I've done is I have my Ushanka here, and I've taken everybody's name that asked for a copy and wrote it down and put it in the Ushanka. So I'm gonna, you know, stir it up. We're gonna pull 3 names, and those people are going to get copies of Natural Selection too. So, okay, here we go. Alright, the first one goes to Kyle or Kalarnita. I have no idea how to adequately pronounce his name, but I will put it at the bottom of the video so the person who won knows who they are. Okay, next one goes to, actually I'll spell it out right now. No, people will be able to see it. It's a waste of time. Next one goes to Mr. Commander Killer. And we've got one more giveaway. And yeah. Okay, this last one goes to Vizipo. So there you go. Those are your 3 winners of the Natural Selection 2 giveaway. I'll message all those people and be in contact and we'll get that done. So next week we'll have another giveaway, and then the week after that we'll announce the winners and so on and so forth, and that'll be the kind of frame that things go on from this point on and for the foreseeable future. In any case, I want to thank you guys for watching. This has been Joseph Respondent of Stalin. Sorry for going on so long, but we're done now. And until next week, you guys take care.